Good afternoon, everyone. It's coming up to 5 o'clock on Tuesday, the 17th of August. I'm looking at VectorVest USA, and the short-term trend of the American market has turned down. The underlying trend has turned down, in fact, just today. We'll see if that's maintained at the close. And we have a confirmed down in place for quite a long time. So all of the measures of the trend on VectorVest based on the VectorVest Composite, an equally weighted index of all of the 8,000 odd shares that we follow in the North American market. All the measures of the market are down. So as the advice says, VectorVest does not advocate buying stocks at this time. And the breadth of the market over the last few days since I talked about this last week has dropped, and we have now a situation where we've only got 1,000 shares on a buy, and we've got 2,700 on a sell, and some very interesting divergences between what the broader market is doing as based on the VectorVest Composite and what the more narrow measure of the SP 500 did yesterday, and I'll show you that in a second. The Dow's off 325 points. The S&P is off 39 points, and at a very, very important level. I'm already short. That's an intraday speculation. So if we actually go to my viewers, well, first of all, let's look at the VectorVest market timing chart. That is the market timing chart of the US market over the last 3 months, and I've measured and marked the primary wave, the shortest term measure of the trend on VectorVest. And as you can see, this has had done a really good job in finding these swings. And last night it turned to down, and if you just followed the primary wave based on the overall market, you would have had a fairly good day. So we need to be careful, folks. It may be nothing. Now, if we have a look at the S&P 500, as you can see, the S&P 500 trending up strongly, making new highs. The 21s above the 55, they're both pointing strongly upwards. So very difficult to be bearish in an environment where the S&P is making new highs. But as I pointed out a second ago, although the S&P is making a new high and closed exceptionally well yesterday, the overall market is not. So the breadth of the market is awful. So hard to be bearish when the S&P is making new highs, and hard to be overly bullish when the breadth of the market is decaying to such an extent. If we do a very simple fib extension, we can see, and I pointed this out at the VectorVest Q&A yesterday afternoon, in fact on the futures market, and this market, in fact, we got, I put on the 55 21, it nearly got up to 1.618 of that. Didn't quite make it. It made a few ticks less than that, but very close. Now what's happened, folks, take all the junk off the chart, is that we're at a very important juncture in this market, in that yesterday the market closed on a high, and for the last couple of days it's been closed. 1 day, 2, 3, it's been closing on highs. And today it looks as if it wants to reverse. Now that's what I call a surprise attack. It's my own pattern. I've noticed it over the years. But if you have a market that's closing on highs, and then in the next session it breaks the low, that you get a fairly sudden reversal. Now I think we're going to get a bit of a reasonable pullback over the next couple of days. I'm not saying a crash or anything like that, and you've all read the angst that's going on in the world at the moment, and the pictures that we see in the front pages of the newspapers. So a great deal of nervousness around, that's for sure. Just be prepared for a pullback. As you can see, these pullbacks have come to nothing. It's a time of the year where there tends to be a great deal of noise in the marketplace on the run-up to this Fed meeting towards the end of August. So if we have a look now at the short-term position of the market, this is the 5-minute chart, and that's the opening bar. As you can see, it gapped down. I've been sweating on this, and you do an awful lot of sweating in intraday trading. I shorted the damn thing right on the lows, and my stop loss is up here, and I've managed to get away with it, and I'm in the money. Now, I'm hoping for a big one. Hoping is not an investment strategy, but I'm going to add to that position. Now, I looked at this over the last hour or so, and that's 4437, yesterday's low, and the day before, well, I think that's what, that would be Friday. The Thursday's low is 4435. If I see it breaking 4435, then I'm going to add to that position short, okay? My stop loss is at today's high, so not a great deal of risk in it as yet. Let's see what can happen. I've been very lucky in surprise attacks over the years. And for example, there's a surprise attack on the long side. We get down days, it closes on a low, and then it reverses. Now we have a young man in the UK called Mark Crittenden, who's absolute whiz on Unisearch. I think he knows more about Unisearch than anybody else in the world. And within 2 minutes of me speaking of the surprise attack, he in fact had coded it in Unisearch. So he'll be answering our questions at our user group on Wednesday night to pinpoint that pattern and many other patterns. Anybody listening who wants to come along to that, I'm happy to send you a complimentary invite if you're not a VectorVest member. david.paul@vectorvest.com. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen next, folks. I have some positions in the American market. I haven't done anything in the UK. I'm going to look at that in some detail. I need to raise some cash in shares because there's a couple of shares I would like to buy, assuming the situation hasn't changed, but I haven't got any money left, so I've got to get rid of something before I can buy something new. So that's a job that I was supposed to do, and I haven't done. Crocs has pulled back on me a lot. Now let's just chart these positions that I've got. I took good money in ANAT, and I was stopped out in Visa. So if we chart these three, I'm always very cautious at this time of the year, and probably I should have taken profits in this, but that was my entry in Crocs just there. Stop loss was there, and I took off half as much when I'd made as much as I'd risked, and I brought my stop loss to entry. So the stop loss is at entry, and I'm giving back money here. Okay, so what can you do? That's the price, unfortunately, of getting a runner, and invariably sometimes you get stopped out and then it turns. What can you do? That is EVC, and that's my entry point just there where that horizontal line is. I traded it here and I got stopped out at entry, so that was I made a little bit on half the position here, got stopped out at entry there, re-entered there, took off half, the stops at entry at the minute. We shall see. I like the look of this, so it's pulled back in 3 waves. This is an excellent trending stock, so a little bit of money in the bank on both of those, and that's Square, folks, and Square I'm underwater in. I based this on a weekly chart, and I think that my entry was a little impulsive. I bought into it just here at 272, and I'm underwater. My stop loss is at the VectorVest stop loss, which is quite a long way away, at 236. We shall see. So that one is underwater, and I'm still holding that. If I had any wit, I would just bank the rest of these now, because the market, I think, seems to be going to fall. So if I see the market this afternoon and pulling back strongly, and the S&P breaking, it's going to take a bit of energy for it to break those levels. If it breaks solidly through those levels, then I'll bank what's left of those three. We shall see. We shall see what happens. If we go back to that intraday position. As you can see, it's bouncing off these old highs now. It's going to take a bit of energy to get through them. Stop losses well out of the way, so I won't hold this position overnight. It's what's 5 o'clock now. It's got 4 hours to go. We'll see what it looks like just before the close. So not a day to be buying stocks in the US, and the buy sell ratio really getting down into a mega oversold situation, down around about it's 0.37 now. When it gets to about 0.25 or less, then we're entering into a mega oversold situation. We could see a little bit of a bounce. So just be careful. I'll do another video tomorrow on the UK. I covered the UK reasonably extensively last Friday. So I hope you found that helped. Thanks very much indeed. Bye.